So we have now set the stage, and here comes our headliner. Are you ready? Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the man who, he's not going to join us. He's dead. But welcome to our narrative. The man who would come to embody Tammany Hall's power, greed, and epic corruption, William Boss Tweed. Have you heard of Boss? You're familiar with Boss Tweed. What does his name? What does his name conjure for you?
It conjures an enormous barrel-chested gentleman who strolls through the streets of New York, and everyone knows his name, and he is legendary, and people whisper and point and wave, and he waves back.
Oh my gosh, it sounds like an episode of Cheers.
It basically is. He's basically Norm, but on the streets of 19th century New York.
And also not afraid to just hit you with an axe.
Yeah.
He's a very complicated guy because he was enormous, both in stature and in girth, and by all accounts, a very gregarious and jovial guy.
Yeah.
Really like the kind of backslapping good time Charlie, but also like capable of like horrific violence.
Yeah. Combination of people like breaking into huge smiles and waving and him waving back, and also moms grabbing their kids and hustling them inside when he walked down the street. That's what I picture.
All right. So let's get into old Boss Tweed here. Born in 1823 on Manhattan's Lower East Side, son of a chair maker. He actually apprenticed at the family trade, but he had much more lofty ambitions. His first step in chasing those ambitions was the rough and tumble, politically connected world of New York's volunteer fire companies. Isn't that kind of
interesting?
Isn't that kind of interesting? Yeah, because back then, fire companies weren't the noble Dalmatian-loving institutions that we think of today. They were basically street gangs with hoses,
right?
Or buckets. Like crews would literally fist fight over who got to put out a blaze, because whoever controlled the fires were so common, and whoever could control the fires had significant control over the neighborhood. And then, of course, all of the political clout that came with that. So think of politics by way of pro wrestling, but with a lot more water damage.
Yeah, sure.
Thank God we don't have to rely on for-profit emergency services anymore. For now.
Yeah.
Not sure where things are going.
When is this airing?
Yeah, exactly. So as we mentioned before, Tweed was a very gregarious guy. He first joined Engine Company Number 12 before helping found America's Fire Company Number 6 in 1848. This company was nicknamed the Big Six, and their symbol, a flashy tiger. Tweed rose to foreman of this fire company, a position he parlayed into membership in the Society of St. Tammany. Again, these fire companies were very politically connected because it was just all power brokering between these sort of rough and tumble figures and politicians and the leaders of the various wards throughout New York City. So from there, he bounced around a few different roles. He was an alderman, a congressman for a spell, found that very boring, came right back to New York City from Albany. He was even a lawyer for a minute. But he finally found real power on the New York County Board of Supervisors as deputy street commissioner. What is a street commissioner? That just sounds mobbed up.
It really does.
The street commish.
Well, it conjures an image of like, this is the guy who knows all the other people in the neighborhood, right? Like it's a guy who's like, we need 60 people to do some task, and he's like, I got it, and he just goes out and knocks on all the doors and rounds up the crew, and it's a very mobbed up sounding job.
Well, as deputy street commish, old Tweed controlled city contracts, jobs, and construction, and this is where Tweed's genius for corruption truly flourished. If you wanted your cousin on the city payroll, you slipped Tweed some cash. If you wanted your construction company to build a new school, you cut Tweed a slice. Or maybe you would just get the contract and never even have to build the fucking school. It's like they were just cranking out all the cash.